Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a fundraising strategy that can seriously transform how people give to your cause. It's called tiered giving, and it's all about making the act of donating simpler, way more meaningful, and a heck of a lot more effective.
Okay, so let's dive in with a problem that is, well, frustratingly common. You do all this work to get a new donor in the door, they make that very first gift, and then, poof, they're gone. So, what is going on?
The reality is pretty shocking. On average, only about 20% of first-time donors will ever give a second time. That means 8 out of 10 new supporters just don't return. That's like having a giant hole in your fundraising bucket, but the good news is it's a hole we can actually patch up. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really digging into what we're calling the donor's dilemma. Then we'll get into a smarter way to actually ask for that support. After that, I'll walk you through a step-by-step blueprint for building your own tiers and talking about their impact. And finally, we'll cover how to measure what really matters so you can drive real, sustainable growth.
Right. So what's causing this massive drop-off? Well, it usually comes down to 2 hidden roadblocks. First, when you show someone a donation form with just a blank box, their brain kind of freezes up. We call that decision fatigue. And second, they just can't connect the dots between, say, a $25 gift and a real-world outcome. The impact feels fuzzy.
So, that's the problem. How do we fix it? Well, we need a smarter way to ask, right? A structured approach that totally removes the guesswork for our donors. And that is exactly where tiered giving comes in. Instead of asking that big, vague question, so how much do you want to give? Tiered giving offers a few crystal clear choices. You can think of it like a restaurant menu. Each option has a price, but, and this is the important part, each one shows you exactly what your money is buying for the cause.
And what's so cool about this strategy is why it works. It's not magic, it's all about psychology. By giving people these preset amounts, you completely wipe out that decision fatigue. You're also giving them a subtle social cue, a little hint about what a normal or helpful gift looks like. And most importantly, you're building a rock-solid bridge between a dollar amount and a real outcome, which gives donors a clear ladder to climb for bigger gifts in the future.
This quote right here just nails it. It perfectly captures the power of what's called anchoring. When you show someone a $50 option, it suddenly seems like a really attractive and totally achievable next step for someone who is already thinking about giving $40. That little nudge, multiplied by hundreds or thousands of donors, can make a massive, massive difference. All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually build this thing? Well, the good news is it's not about guesswork. It's a pretty straightforward 3-step process that's all driven by your own data.
So let's walk through this blueprint. First up, you've got to dig into your own donation history to see what your typical gift sizes look like, and make sure to ignore those rare giant donations that can skew the numbers. Second, you connect those dollar amounts to actual program costs. What does $50 really do? And third, you can add some simple, low-cost perks to recognize each level of support. See, it's not about random numbers, it's about building tiers that really feel authentic to your organization.
Okay, now here is an absolutely crucial pro tip. So listen up. Research shows pretty consistently that when people are given a few choices, most of them will pick the second lowest one. So what do? You strategically set that second tier just a little above your current average donation. It's a really simple tweak that can systematically lift your average gift size right across the board.
So you've built your tiers. Job done, right? Well, not quite. Building the tiers is really only half the battle. How you talk about them is just as important. And the key here is to tailor your message, because let's face it, not every donor is motivated by the exact same thing.
You can think about your communication strategy like this. For your entry-level donors, you want to focus on powerful stories and making them feel like they're part of a bigger community. For your mid-level supporters, maybe you give them some exclusive behind-the-scenes content. And for your major donors, it's all about that personal touch, phone calls, direct access, you name it. This kind of segmented approach makes sure every single person feels seen and valued.
All right, the big question, does this stuff actually work? Let's get into the proof, the numbers that really show how this strategy pays off and leads to sustainable growth.
I mean, the data really speaks for itself. Studies show that just by adding suggested donation amounts, organizations see an average increase in contributions of about 12%. That is a huge return from making one simple strategic change in how you ask.
But to make sure your program stays effective, you've got to be tracking the right things. Obviously, you'll want to watch your average gift size and see which tiers are most popular. But you know what? Here's a sneaky one to watch. Pay close attention to how many people are clicking the Other Amount button.
If a lot of people are doing that, it's a huge red flag that your suggested tiers might be a little off the mark. And please remember this is not a set it and forget it kind of deal. The most successful programs are always changing, always evolving. You should constantly be A/B testing your giving levels, trying out new impact statements, and, this is a big one, directly asking your donors for their feedback. Continuous improvement is the real key to long-term success.
At the end of the day, tiered giving isn't just another fundraising tactic. It's really about removing friction and just making generosity easy. It's about empowering your supporters to give confidently and to feel amazing about the impact they're having. So the final question for you and your organization is pretty simple. Your donors want to make a difference. Are you making it as easy as possible for them to do it?